Welcome to Season 5 of the Get Out of Teaching podcast, presented by Larksong Enterprises. This podcast is for teachers who are considering leaving education but feel like they have no options. I'm your host, Elizabeth Diakos. I'm a career transition coach who guides overwhelmed teachers out of education and into a life they love. In this season, we'll be speaking with wellbeing experts who can help you to stay well as you plan your exit. But I also want to share something with you. Many teachers want to escape the classroom, but still have a passion to teach. If that sounds like you, then consider becoming a learning success coach. Founder Kahila Sivas has created a business in a box. It's a 12-week guided process to build and launch your independent coaching practice with no profit share or franchise fees. Be inspired by the latest stories of teachers who are leaving the classroom at www.learningsuccesscoaches.com and get out of teaching with confidence. Episode 16. Hi everyone and welcome to the show. On today's show, I'm really pleased to be speaking with Melanie Rix, who's a classroom teacher who has created mindfulness practices for the classroom, and she's going to share her insights with us today. Thanks for joining us on the Get Out of Teaching podcast today, Melanie.
Thanks for having me.
So Melanie, what got you into teaching in the first place?
Oh, what got me into teaching? Well, I actually thought I wanted to be a psychologist. So I went to school. I have an undergrad in psychology and went to grad school and was enrolled to be a family therapist. And I started working as a paraprofessional at a school, just kind of part-time. Well, actually it wasn't part-time, but just while I was going to school. And I fell in love with it. It was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be working with these kids. And so I kind of shifted into the education field. So
were you still studying psychology at the time, or had you finished?
So I dropped out of that program and enrolled in an education program. So
right. Wow. Okay. So I started out in undergraduate psych as well.
Okay.
And I didn't fail. I conceded my last subject, which was basically writing computer programs, because back then there was no IT department. And so, and I just didn't get it at all. And so that was the end of my psychology career too.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started working in the classroom, and how long have you been doing that for? So I think we've got a bit of a lag here. So I'll just repeat the question. How long have you been in the classroom for?
I have been in the classroom for 17 years.
Wow. Okay. Because for the audience who are just listening and can't see Melanie, she looks like she's about 14. So she looks great. Okay. So you've been in the classroom all that time. And what have you noticed along the way? That's a fair whack of time. What have you noticed change along the way?
The biggest things I've noticed, I guess, is I feel like a lot of people say this, that teachers, more and more is required of them. If you can't do it this way, we'll try it that way. I think that's the biggest thing that I've maybe noticed.
Okay. And so what have you created then to help manage that situation?
I've created an online teacher wellness, kind of like a well of resources, mindfulness resources that teachers can use during the day. So at work, they are all 5-minute activities or meditations, or there's mindfulness coloring. There's just a whole assortment of things that will kind of return you to center and get you kind of out of that. I feel like we get into fight or flight at work, right? And so just kind of recenters you and brings you back to yourself and what's important. Yeah.
Okay, so are these activities for the students to do along with the teacher?
These activities are designed specifically for the teacher. I did have the teacher in mind when I created these, and like specific problems maybe a teacher would have, but you could absolutely transfer these to use with your students. I find, so I'm expected to also do mindfulness with my students, and it really helps when I have a practice, because if I don't have a practice, it's really hard for me to teach my students something that I don't know very well. So you could transfer those to your students, but it really is designed for the teacher.
Okay, so just at a practical level, how does a teacher add another thing into their day? When are they going to do this mindfulness practice?
I know, right? So, and that was me. I was very much struggling, and things were kind of falling apart at home because I was just doing more and more and more at work. And I said, something's got to give or I'm going to break. And so I started taking 5 minutes for myself. Sometimes, a lot of times it's at the beginning of my lunch period, which I know a lot of teachers also don't take, but that was what worked for me. 5 minutes at the beginning of my lunch period for myself. Mm. I know time is the thing, right? Like teachers don't have time. And that is why I made these 5 minutes. Yeah. And I have found the more that I made this a priority, the easier it was. And also, I feel like my other tasks that I was doing weren't as hard. They weren't taking as much energy. I was more centered. I was more aligned with myself when I started taking just 5 minutes.
Okay. So when I was teaching, I was also studying the Master of Applied Positive Psychology, and my resting heart rate was 120 beats a minute. That's not good. I had a Fitbit on, and I actually had an appointment with a cardiographer, and I tested my Fitbit against the monitor, and it was accurate. So I'm like, okay, this is not good. And one of my colleagues in the course had said he was able to reduce his own heart rate by mindfulness practice. So I started doing, with every class that I used to have 3 classes a day that would come in. I would do just 3 minutes of just mindful breathing. That's all we did. And my heart rate went down by 20 beats a minute in about 3 weeks. It was amazing. Like, wow, this is so cool. Yeah. So there's definitely benefit to this. So is this a business that you've created, or is this something that you share with people? How does it actually work? And feel free at this point to shamelessly self-promote.
Yeah, perfect. It is a business. I am still working for the school full time. So this is kind of like my passion project. It's something that I haven't felt like I've needed to do, or I have to get this done. It's really been like, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to create this. This is what I needed today. And so I'll do that. So it is a business for me. So there are 4 kind of main components. So if, depending on what a teacher might need in that day, there's calm. I might need to calm myself. There is inspire. I'm feeling a little bit down, so I need a little bit of inspiration. And there's uplift. And focus. So it's really just easy. It's 5 minutes. I'm going to check in with myself, see what I need in this moment, pick an activity, and I'm going to feel awesome after.
Okay. So are you able to share one of those with us now? Like,
sure.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, so it's the end of your school day and the start of my Saturday morning here. So maybe we both need an uplift. What do you think?
Okay, an uplift. Let's do.
So I've just put Melanie on the spot here. So she wasn't prepared for this question. So give her a second to get herself together.
I got it. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. This is what, so, and the thing is, like, once you start doing these activities, you'll start doing them, like, not just that, you'll just automatically start doing them, like, oh, I'm feeling this, and I could do this. Yeah. So that's really the great thing too. So I do have one, we could try right now. It's called Take Back, Give Back. Okay. So again, you can do this anytime, anywhere. usually like at the end of the day, right? So I feel a little bit depleted, like my energy is low. I need to be uplifted. And as teachers, we kind of all feel that way at the end of the day. So it's just attending to our needs. Okay. So what we're going to do is take a deep breath. So in through your nose and out through your mouth. We'll take a couple deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth. And one more in through our nose and out through our mouth. And as we continue breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth, on our in-breath, we're going to imagine all the pieces of energy that we left out in the world. And we're going to imagine those coming back to us. And as you breathe out, you're going to exhale out anything that you don't need. Inhale, peace. Exhale, anything that doesn't serve you. And continue that, calling in what you need, what you left out there, and releasing what no longer serves you. Just keep inhaling what you need, call it by name if you need to, and exhale and release. And you can keep doing this as long as you need to. Or you can just come back. That's a really, I do that all day long. Like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit like, okay, let's bring it back in. Let's take a deep breath in and exhale. And sometimes I'll actually like open mouth exhale, like, oh, this is not mine. I'm going to give it back.
I love that. Thank you. I feel better already. I've got a busy day today.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay, so how does this work as a business then? Because a lot of the listeners are thinking of creating a side hustle or having something else that they work on while they plan their exit strategy. How does this work? Like, how did you actually set aside the time? Like, can you break down for us the mechanics of how you made this happen?
Sure. So the time is, like I said, it's never like I have to do this. I did not give myself like I have to have this done. I wanted this to be a passion project. I wanted this to be something that was only created with love. And so I just found pieces of time. It wasn't ever a have to, it was I want to create this right now. Instead of watching this show, I'm going to create this activity. I spent a lot of time also in the summer when I'm not working, as my kids are playing in the backyard, I'll create something. I have a business coach. So she, I don't know anything about business. So she taught me a lot of what I need to know about the business end of it, creating a website, how to actually get these activities out to people. And so I've used member vaults for that. Yeah, so.
Okay, so tell us about Member Vault, because I've actually just signed up with Member Vaults myself, and I'm about to create a membership for teachers who want to get out of teaching. So by the time this goes to air, I'm hoping that will actually already be happening. And the idea for me is that instead of the people who are just dipping their toe in the water, this is actually for people who are committed to doing that. So how does your membership work?
So I have a couple different products. So you can put products into Member Vault. They can be different price points. I also have a free mindfulness toolkit that's in there. And some of it depends on, I believe there's a free version. I have to pay for my Member Vault. I have, a couple hundred people in there, but it's fantastic. I mean, it's easy to use. You can create so I use Canva to create a lot of my products, and I just send it right over to the member vault.
Okay,
it's super user friendly.
So Canva is a like a graphic design product where you can create templates and banners and just about anything you want, really. And so you're creating something like a written, like a PDF file. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
And do you have videos or other things as well in there?
I do. I have guided meditations in there. And for those, I used, what's it called? Wondershare Filmora. And that's super user friendly too. And those just convert right over into my member ball.
Right. Wow. Okay. So you're way down the track from a lot of the people listening. How did you make that happen? Like, what was the catalyst for you to start this?
I just, so I had been doing this at work for a while, just taking 5 minutes to myself. And I was noticing, like, I'm not coming home stressed out. I'm actually a better teacher. I am not, when my students way up here, I'm not also meeting them. I'm staying down here. And so I don't know, I just had this feeling, that I needed to create something, and I wasn't actually sure like what I needed to create. But I knew it had to do with teacher wellness, because teachers are having a rough time. I was having a rough time. And I just felt this need to share it. And I got some pretty significant signs. I mean, I literally just said, universe, why are you telling, why am I feeling this way? What am I supposed to do with this? Give me, and I actually said, like, what is my Northern Star? Like, what am I supposed to be doing here? And the next day I got to work, and the title of it, looking for the title is email. So my coworker actually, she forwarded me an email, and she said, I don't know why, I just feel like I'm supposed to send you this email. And the title of it was Find Your North Star. And she said, I just feel like you're supposed to start this teacher wellness business. I'm like, okay. Well, I can't deny that. So, and I did have a friend who is a business coach, and she helped me kind of learn some of these things. So I did have that connection. Yeah. But it just kind of happened. I just followed, they're like breadcrumbs all along the way, and I just followed the breadcrumbs. So I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you have a goal in mind, or was it just really one step at a time?
One step at a time. Yep. I knew this was something really important to me, and I didn't want to burn out on it. I didn't want to get frustrated. I didn't want to have this huge goal and then not meet it and then give up. This is important. So,
yeah. Okay. So can I just take you back in time? You said that there was a lot going on for you, that you were struggling. Can you share a little bit about what was happening for you?
I felt like, teaching is hard, and I had hard students, and I feel like I was good at my job, and so that comes with more responsibilities. And I am the person that had a really hard time saying no. I was just, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. And it eventually wore me out. And I just got to a point where, I just said, I can't do this. I'm coming home and I'm absolutely worthless to my family. Something has to change. And so I kind of stumbled into mindfulness through, I'm teaching my students this. Well, this is good for me too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's hard to be vulnerable and admit that that's what's happening for you. So I'm really grateful just for your willingness to share that story with us, because I think a lot of teachers feel like they're the only one who feels this way, and they're alone.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I think most people feel that way right now. Yeah. And we all, we're teachers, we're supposed to be there for our students, and they should come first, and they do, but what about us? Who's going to take care of us? We have to. Yeah, that's right. It's hard, but you're absolutely right. I think I see so many posts on Facebook about teachers. Someone posted the other day, how did my dream job become my death sentence? And I was like, oh my goodness,
It's terrible. It's not worth it, is it, to let that be the case? Okay. So, as we wind this up, what questions should I have asked you about what you're doing? Like, can you share with us the link to your member vault? Like, how can people find you?
Sure. I have a website. It's theteachervault.com. Everything you need to find my products are on there. There's a link to a free mindfulness toolkit. You can just click on that, and there's some of my favorites in there just to get you started. I mean, really just a foundation. You could use those every day and be perfectly fine. Right. If you'd like to go further and have something that a little more variety, there is 2 products in there. The Mindful Reset System, which is $47. Over 100 various activities, mindfulness activities. Like I said, what do I need in this moment? It's hard to make one more decision when we're at that point, and just click in and go with it.
Yeah.
Last summer, I also created a summer reset, which it's not summer. Well, it's not summer here where I am, but for $24 to kind of let go of the past school year and set yourself up for the coming school year. I think I'm going to make some tweaks to that. But that will be available soon. It's available right now, but it's not summer, like I said. So
okay, that's great though. What a lovely idea. I remember one year I was trying to clear my desk before I left, and the school's getting emptier and emptier. It's the last day of the year. And I was so stressed, and my husband's like ringing me saying, when are you coming home? And I'm like, I just need to clean my desk before I go, because otherwise I'm going to have this thought that it's still going to be there on the first day back. Because, it was hard to get into the school during the holidays over the summer. And so I just didn't want to have to face the mess when I got back. So I think that reset and just being able to reframe and look to the future rather than dwell in the past could be really helpful. And I know I used to, by the end, I was dreading, on the last day of the term, I was dreading the first day back, and that was 6 weeks away. And so when you get to that point, something has to give, right? Something has to shift.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so you've given us your website. How would people join what's in your membership in Member Vault? Do you have a membership program as well?
I don't have a membership. It's just those 2 products right now and the free mindfulness toolkit. And once you have those forever.
Right. Okay.
So that's how it works right now. And who knows where maybe one day we'll have a membership, but for right now, it's just those things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so what year level do you teach?
So I am a special education teacher. And actually right now I'm kind of in like a lead teacher position where I get to support teachers more, which is perfect. And I'm still doing a little bit of subbing inside the classroom. So I right now actually get to work with kind of preschool students all the way up to high school students. So I have a very wide variety.
Wow, that must make for very interesting days.
It does. For sure.
Okay, so Melanie, as we wrap up, I'm going to ask you one final question. What's your favorite song?
I don't know why this is a stressful question. There is one song that I found, and it's not like a song I would hear on the radio, but it's called I Will Be Gentle with Myself. And it's kind of this soft, like, reminder for myself on the hard days. I will be gentle with myself. So that's my favorite one right now.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, well, Melanie Rix, thank you so much for coming on the Get Out of Teaching podcast today. As we once this recording is all sorted out and been to Fleur, my producer, we will also add the links to your member vault and your website, so that if people want to have a look at your products, they can do that, and that'll all be up on the hosting platform so people can find it in the show notes for this episode. So awesome. Thanks very much for coming on the Get Out of Teaching podcast today.
Thank you very much for having me.
You've been listening to the Get Out of Teaching podcast, presented by Larksong Enterprises, with your host, Elizabeth Diakos. Thanks for listening. If you need more support in your journey out of education, take a look around my website, larksong.com.au, where you'll find free resources, my resume revamp product, and a link to book a strategy call with me to get you moving forward. I've been where you are now, and you don't need to do this alone.